Hi there. Now I'm hoping to finish this Whippethound off. I've decided I'm going to do a second coat of the glacier, the transparent glacier, which is what this is. Just, I don't use it very often, but I just thought maybe I'll try it out a bit more, give it more of a go. And if I think it's too cold or it's just not bright enough, I'll go for my usual duck egg blue, because that's such a good color. But I'll try this because I just want to see what it could be like. And I'm going to go around the edges again. And see if I can get it a little bit more intense. I think I better get some coins in here too. And I'm going to dump that bit out and get a bit more. There we go. Okay, as soon as the kiln has hotted up a bit, I'll give this a try and we'll see how it comes out. And here's our second coat, our second firing of the glacier blue, transparent glacier. It's nice. It's not wildly exciting. So I will be putting some of the warmer opaque blues on it. Let's see when we can see how that looks. I think it'll make it just look a bit more interesting. Now I actually decided I would put some of this light turquoise. That's that's shower. That's an Austrian enamel. Light turquoise. It's really, really pale. It's actually lovely, but it's quite pale. So I've decided to put a little sort of streak of it across here. And then I'm going to get my duck egg blue, my trusty duck egg blue, which is in this sifter right now with 80 mesh sifter. And I'm going to put that across here and just blend it in a little bit. Blending colors like that, it can be pretty hit and miss. So if you do it, you really need to know that the piece is going to be enameled or fired quite a few times, and that you're looking for quite a sort of textured appearance. You know, otherwise you might end up with something you don't like. And I use these colors a lot, so I know that they come out nice one way or another. It's just really the way they're put on, how I'm going to kind of blend. I know the duck egg blue is a little bit darker than this light turquoise, so I don't want to completely obscure it. So we'll see how this turns out. And I also don't want to completely cover the transparent. So for that, we'll leave it like that. So it's not really heavily covered. Hopefully you can see that. You can still see some of the original blue underneath. And right, let's just put that in the kiln and we can see what it looks like when it comes out. Here is our Whippethound in the background done. Well, it does need one more firing anyway. As you can see, that really pale sort of turquoise burned, well, it more or less got sucked in to the glacier. And that warmer blue, that's the duck egg. And actually, I really like how that came out. I actually like that it's just quite simple. So I'm going to leave it like that. I was going to put yellows and that kind of thing on top, but I think I'm just going to put a bit more duck egg and put a shadow where the feet are, and then I'm going to finish off the Whippethound. I need to do the eyes and the nose, and I think I might add a bit more apricot to it as well. Okay, nearly done. Okay, this is going to be the final firing, I'm hoping. And I'm just going to add a bit more of the duck egg. I kind of want it to look as though there's sort of brightness coming from the heavens here. So I want to keep it quite nice and subtle. I just put a tiny bit more down here. And then what I'm going to do is then pick it up and transfer it over to another sheet. Where I'm going to do the shadow where the dog's feet meet the ground, just to anchor this person down. So this is the kind of what I'm looking to do. And I'll use black, and black is a bit of a tough color, but I think I'm going to use it because it's good. I think it's good for this. I've got it in a 150 mesh sifter, and I'm gonna just put it in like that, just a little bit, because it comes out of the sifter looking quite pale and grey, but it's actually really dark once it's on. That's probably okay. And what I'm going to do as well is just sort of direct it, you know, because it like that, so it kind of has a dot through there. Because shadows, if the contrast is quite high with a shadow, you need to make sure that you show that. So I'm hoping this is okay, because it might not be. So I put a tiny bit there. So I definitely don't want it up here. I'll make sure that's gone. I hope that's all right now. We'll soon find out. And I may just put a couple of beads on. I'm a bit obsessed with the beads. I think they can look really nice. So there we are. We'll try and I'll just zoom in on that a bit so you can see. So that's around the feet. And so I'm hoping this will be interesting. Right, we're nearly finished with our Whippethound, and I have the original one here, and you can see that he's just got a very basic indication of a nose and an eye. I wanted the dog to have his or her eye closed while looking up into the sky. So that's what I'm going to do with this orange one as well. And what I'm going to use is this black here. This is Milton Bridge again. This is called a black metal enamel pen. It's basically liquid black enamel, and it's very dark black. It's not kind of like this one. I used one of the watercolor painting ones, so it's a slightly paler color, but I want it to be more black, so I'm going to use this. And this comes with various different nibs that go on to the top. The problem is they get blocked up very easily. The really thin one gets blocked up easily, and it's not that easy to control. But so I sometimes just squirt it out into a palette like this. This has loads of different colors in it. Just a little blob. And I'm literally just going to use a paintbrush with it. Quite a thin paintbrush. I think that's the thinnest I have. I probably could do with a thinner one, but we'll see how this works. Let's have a look. I'll do the nose first, since that's... Well, let me just get in a bit closer so you can see. That looks blurred. Anyway, that's probably okay. So I'll just do a little blob on the nose. And let's see what this guy's nose is like. That's okay. And then I really just want to do a kind of okay, I think that's not thick enough. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is put quite a blob on the eye, and then when it's dry I will use a toothpick to form it into a bit of a better shape. Let's see if I can. So that's the greyhound so far. Actually, I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I think the eye looks okay like that. The liquid enamels like this have to be dry before they go into the kiln, because if they aren't dry, they'll basically boil and bubble and sort of splinter off and splatter away. So they do need to be dry. This won't take any time at all to dry. Okay, let's get this guy into the kiln. Actually, I'm going to do one more thing, and I'll bring the camera over here. I actually ended up adding a bit more color. I lied about being finished with the blue for the background, and I added a bit of olive green. So there it is. I think that came out really nice. I like that. So I just need to make sure that the greyhound gets a little bit of olive green where it meets the fur. So I think what I'm going to do is just basically stick him in there, and literally just get one of the very small sifters. I don't think I've shown this one yet. That little tiny sifter. It's only about the size of, not even the size of a penny, and it's got 40 mesh. You can see that the weave is quite open, so you do have to be careful with these little ones. They're good for just little spots of color. So what I'll do is just put a tiny bit here, just to catch his back a bit, you know, a little bit on the bum, and just a little bit here on the head and face. Oops, that's probably a bit too much. Anything that is too much, I'll brush it off. The only thing with those small sifters is that the weave is very big in the mesh, and this is finished as far as I'm concerned, so I'm actually just going to knock it off the background, and I'll get a brush and just sort of, I'm just going to move that around a bit actually, and I don't want it on the black eye. I may have to do that eye again. I don't want it on the nose, because this is quite an intense color actually, this olive. So I'm going to take quite a bit of it off. Maybe that's okay. Yeah, I think that's probably okay. I'll just move that around a bit. It's going to probably just as a few highlights. Right, we will see how that turns out. Right, so finally here we have our Whippethound with a sort of rays of sunshine coming down. Nose and eyes. Shadows. I actually increased the shadows on the slide while your backs were turned, because it wasn't quite, whoops, dark enough. And here's the original one beside it. I think the bigger piece of copper is better. I think the situation is better. And here are a couple of other things. This is another hound that I was working on. I decided to kind of experiment with some grayish greens and sort of blending the circles on the body into the background. And I've used a bit of transparent yellow on top of some pinks, and I allowed the edges of the background to burn around the corners just for a bit of texture. And then here is a black Labrador type of dog looking out at a lake waiting for his owner to come back. I wanted to try and make it like a dawn scene on a lake, and so the background took a while to get done, and I really love that. I think it's Windsor blue, and with some highlights on the shoulder and knee. And then I did a golden retriever sitting on a jetty, and I did the lake and sky, sort of the similar color. I left the jetty copper, and I just put Renaissance wax on it, so it wasn't very dry looking. And I really wanted to do the trees in the background, sort of flame colors. So that's what I've been working on.